A lot of talk has surrounded the 2026 NASCAR schedule and the schedule beyond even that. With it, there's tracks that want to be added on, fans that wanted tracks added on, and of course, those who want tracks taken away. So today, I thought we'd do a fun little exercise, looking at 3 tracks apiece, 3 to be axed, and 3 to be added, and which are the most likely. Now, I will say that while there are tracks people want to be taken off the schedule, like Texas, they bring in a good audience, and they're not going to be. And there's other tracks that might not look the greatest, but numbers-wise, bring in more like Indianapolis. Those are safe. We're going to be realistic here based on rumor, based on news, and based on maybe some fan push. The first that I think could be axed is Iowa, where we were just at this past weekend. And I personally am against this. I think Iowa is a great track. I think the fans are great, and I think it deserves to have a cup date. But there are a couple of things to look at here. First off, the attendance this year was estimated to be around 24,000 instead of last year's 45,000. A lot of the temporary seats that they had last year were there because of Hy-Vee and IndyCar, and now that event has completely fallen apart, and they were just left with the permanent seating capacity. And with it, you have to kind of ask, what is really the cap off of Iowa, and can you build on it the way that IndyCar did, or at least just in general? The schedule has been incredibly fluid as well. Tracks come and go in about 2 to 3 year spans all the time, and this one is one that is being rumored a lot when it comes to that. The short track package doesn't help either. The racing at this track, especially this past race, was not good. I don't care what people say or the copium they use, it just wasn't that good. There is talks as well that the infrastructure needs updating around the track. After all, this track is not new anymore, and that's what some journalists have said. So overall, this is one that I think as early as 2026 could be axed off the schedule. Again, I don't agree with it. To be added on, and I'm kind of cheating here because you can kind of add 2 tracks with this, is Montreal, or you could even probably talk about Motorsports. But with the Montreal side of things, Canada needs a cup race. Their fan base is the second largest country's fan base of NASCAR, and it's the top one outside of America. I see it in my analytics, and I know that just about every other person in media does as well. They've been die-hard fans of motorsports in general, and there seems to be more and more of a push from NASCAR to get them up there, as well as the fans themselves. There's a ton of Canadians in the industry as well, so it really wouldn't be all that much when it comes to a lot of the industry getting up there, and monetarily it would probably cost far less than a race in, say, Mexico would. I think if anyone deserves a permanent cup date outside the US, it's them. Plus, it could fit the street race slot when you talk about Montreal. The second to be axed is Dover, the Monster Mile. This track, in just about every way, has struggled immensely for the past 2 decades, even more than most tracks on the NASCAR schedule today. It already has lost a date and has been bought out by SMI, so any date that they would need, you could hypothetically move Dover aside for that. And we've seen it happen before. Just look at the Kentucky Speedway. The date also seems to be moving around a lot at this point. The one date they have, whether it be in August a couple of years ago during COVID, or then being in the spring for a few years, and now being in the doldrums of the summer. There are plenty of eligible tracks that can be added onto the NASCAR schedule, and SMI probably can get a pretty kickback from some of them, similar maybe to what Texas had with COTA leasing them out. So I would not be surprised if in the next couple of years, if the attendance and viewership and racing doesn't improve, if the Monster Mile is sitting aside on the sideline for a year or 2. On the addition side, there is Portland. Portland has stayed in the Xfinity schedule for a few years now, and it seems like it's pretty popular and gaining some speed, though a date change may change this sentiment in general. This would add a bit more value to the area than just the Xfinity Series. I love the Xfinity Series, but the Cup Series is the main goal for every single new market. And that's the thing. You'd be adding a very new market to NASCAR, a definitely non-NASCAR centered market. And that's what NASCAR seems to be wanting to do. There's been talks about it, it's been rumored, but it would definitely have to change a date, seeing how the Xfinity race this year is the same weekend as the Southern 500. And you're not moving that to Portland of all places. But I do think that this is a place that throughout the year when it's able weather-wise would be a great addition at any point weather-wise as well. Plus, they can race in the rain at this track, which has been proven by the Xfinity Series. The last one that I could see axed on the list is Richmond. This is another track that has fallen from grace. After selling out for years, having over 110,000 people at every race twice a year, it is now almost a ghost town every time they go to this track. The date also is in no man's land again in the summer and has moved around a lot. Back in the day, they had the dates be in May and September. Then they had the dates sort of move around to April and sometimes even earlier. And now it's been moved to August, and it's, again, right before Daytona and probably pretty overlooked. With ISC leasing out tracks left and right and trying new markets, this track would be an easy option to switch out to keep some of the newer editions of 2026 alive when 2027, 8, or 9 comes along. It might not be popular with older fans, but the racing too has been so lackluster with the short track package that there's really nothing to be missed right now for it. The last one that I could see added at some point soon would be Kentucky. This would need some work. If you've seen some of the most recent videos of people not legally entering this track, you would know that there is a lot of work to be done in cleaning it up, way more than even Chicagoland Speedway. But here's the thought experiment that fans are having. The next-gen car on a 1.5-mile track. That's it. We've had great racing so far with it at tracks like Kansas, Charlotte, and even Texas has had an increase in quality of racing over time with this car. It could be interesting to see what they could do with Kentucky. Could this track with the right car actually race well? Personally, I'm not really on board with this one, but I get why people think it. And on top of that, with it being so much closer to Cincinnati, you maybe could even have this race for a year or two as a way to have a push to race in Cincinnati, test out the waters, see if the market has changed over the years. With Chicagoland Speedway added back onto the schedule, fans will be looking for the next project to try and beg NASCAR to return to. And in my opinion, with this being really second fiddle to Chicagoland over the last couple years since both were taken off of the schedule, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people now will be pining for the return of Kentucky. But there you have it. Now I want to know what you think. What tracks do you want added or axed from the NASCAR schedule? They can be from this video or completely out there. Wild stuff. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. While you're at it, leave a like in this video, share this video, and subscribe to this channel for more great and fun NASCAR content. Thank you so much to all my channel members for your continued support. And until next time, have a good one.